Hey, welcome to another weekly reading vlog. So normally when I start a vlog, I kind of tell you what I'm up to and how I'm enjoying it, thoughts on the book. But for this one, I'm just kind of going to tell you what I'm currently reading, because one of them I've almost finished and I'm going to be telling you my thoughts when I finish it, which will either be tonight or tomorrow. And the other book I'm currently reading, I'm like 25% of the way through and it's going to be a slog. I'm going to be reading it for a while. So checking in and telling you my thoughts every 10 minutes is not going to be like the best way to go about it. So I'm going to keep it brief for the introduction to this vlog. So the book that I am hoping to finish tonight or tomorrow is Every Heart a Doorway by Sean Maguire. I am taking part in the Owl's Magical Readathon, and as you guys may know, I also have my Bookopoly TBR. So for the Owls, this book is going to be for Herbology, to read a book with a plant on the cover, and for my Bookopoly it is my third role, which was an adult fantasy. So this one I am 106 pages into it. I've read about 30 pages today and it has 169, and this is a really quick read. Like when I actually sit down and read it, it's just I've kind of been reading this in fits and starts, and over the weekend I was focusing most of my time on the other book I'm currently reading. Hoping to get this done today. If not, it will definitely be done tomorrow and I'll kind of tell you my thoughts on it then. So the book that I'm currently reading that is a slog is Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. This has almost 900 pages. For the Magical Readathon, it is to fulfill the prompt for potions, which is to read a sequel, and for Bookopoly it was my second role, which again was an adult fantasy. This is also the March and April book for my read along of the A Song of Ice and Fire series. We are currently on book 2, and if you are waiting for the live show of Clash of Kings, it is going to be on the 28th of April at 8 PM BST and 3 PM EDT. I think time zones are really hard. So this I am enjoying. I'm interested in parts, but it is very slow at the minute. I'm on page 206, so I've read quite a segment. I was reading this all of yesterday and I only read 110 pages. In Game of Thrones, I find it very difficult to read in massive chunks. I like to read 50 to 100 pages a day of this, and that's all I can manage. I know Maddie from the Book Pusher read Game of Thrones in under 24 hours not too long ago, and I don't know how she did it, because I literally, like, I have to go slowly with these books, and I'm kind of annoyed that I've left the full book to be read in this month, because I do like to split it off, and that's difficult because I want to be immersed in this story. Like, I would love to read it from cover to cover, but I just find that it is a lot when I'm trying to power through massive chunks of this. So these are the books that I'm currently reading. I do plan on reading at least one more book this week. Obviously I will tell you what that is when I start it, but it is my fourth Bookopoly roll, I'm gonna say. I haven't mentioned this in my vlogs yet, but my Bookopoly TBR is super doable this month, and you may have heard me mention in the last few months that I've started to work out an average page number per day, and at the start of every month I add up all the pages of everything in my Bookopoly TBR that I have to read and divide it by the number of days to get a amount of pages on average that I have to read every single day. Now for the last few months that's been like around 130 pages, so I've been aiming to read 150 just to make sure I get through everything, but this month it's only 95 to 100, so like I'm excelling at this so far. But that's enough from me, because I have to go edit last week's vlog and I don't know what I'm doing for the rest of the night, but I guess we'll find out. Hey guys, so last night I actually managed to finish Every Heart a Doorway at about 12:30 AM, so technically today. Okay, so this series is much loved on BookTube. Everybody loves this book and this series. I've already read this before. I listened to the audiobook in 2017, I think, and I didn't love it, but I thought, you know, I don't always get on with audiobooks. I don't really like this narrator. I'll reread it physically and I'll probably like it a lot more. So rereading it physically, I love the writing style. I think the writing is absolutely beautiful in this. And as I've mentioned 100 times, I love the concept. All these kids that have been to portal worlds, very different ones, high logic, high wicked, high nonsense, and have been chucked out and need to acclimatise to the normal world again. So I really loved those aspects of this book, but I still don't like this book. I gave this 3 stars. It's annoying to me. It's really annoying because this is definitely a me thing. This is not a book thing. It's a me thing. I don't like this book and I don't know why. I don't really like any of the characters. I think Cade is probably the one that I like the most. I don't care for the story. There's a point where I stop liking it. I really enjoyed the bit up to probably just before the murder mystery kicks in, and after that I just don't care. I liked the build-up. I was disinterested through the murder mystery part, and then I feel like the conclusion is really, really quick. You guys, if you know me, if you've been here a while, you know that I don't really like short fiction, so that is possibly a factor in why I don't like this book. But it's so frustrating because I love the writing, I love the concept, I just don't like the book, and it frustrates me to no end because I really can't pinpoint why. Why don't I like it? Even having read it, like I've told you, I don't particularly enjoy the story or the characters, and the murder mystery I don't love, but other books have those aspects and I still like them. But I just don't like this. I don't like it, and I don't know why, and it is so frustrating. That being said, a couple of people have commented on maybe my TBR video and said that they also didn't like the first book, but they do like the other books in this series. When I put this on my Readathon TBR and when I was discussing it in the vlog, I did say that I would carry on regardless of how I felt about this book. I do feel like maybe it being a reread tarnished my experience just a tiny bit anyway, because I already knew that I didn't love this story and I already knew what was happening. So I have reserved Down Among the Sticks and Bones from my library, and I'll collect that when it comes in. And I will continue and see if I like that a little bit more. My library also has In an Absent Dream, so I guess I'll read that as well. And we'll see if I can pinpoint exactly what it is about this that I don't like, whether it is just this book or whether it's the series as a whole. So today I started A Closed Uncommon Orbit by Becky Chambers. This is the book for my 4th Bookopoly role, which is to read a science fiction, and it is for the Owl's Magical Readathon prompt for divination, which is to read a book set in the future. This doesn't implicitly say it's set in the future, I don't think, but it's severely implied because there's humans living in space. A Closed Uncommon Orbit is the sequel to The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, and it is the 2nd book in the Wayfarers series. The series is more companion novels than like direct sequels. A lot of people have asked whether you have to read all of the books in order, and you have to read the first one first, but I think you can go from that one to the 2nd or the 3rd. This particular one takes place in 2 timelines. One is directly following the events of the 1st book, and the 2nd timeline is about 20 years in the past. So it's kind of spoilery to discuss the main character in this, but it is a character that is present in the 1st book. If you have read the 1st book and yet know nothing about this book, you can probably guess which one it is, but it is a character that has been rehomed, shall we say, and is struggling to acclimatize to her new home. Let's go with that. This series does contain a lot of messages about inclusivity, but I think that the way that it's done is just so beautiful and seamless and natural that I absolutely adore these stories. So the 1st book contained a lot of diversity in forms of race, even though it was alien races in the actual book. It was very representative of real life human races. There were messages and incidences of prejudice and entitlement and people checking their privilege, which I really liked. There's also varied genders and varied sexualities. These are technically Own Voices novels as well, because Becky Chambers herself has a female partner, and I just thought the message about society and the way that it was handled in this series, and I just thought that the message about society and inclusivity and the way that it was handled in the last book was absolutely beautiful, and so far this is the same. Like I said, the main character in this is struggling with her new home and getting used to it, and I feel like the particular themes that this book is going to tackle is possibly identity and also maybe trauma. So I'm really enjoying it so far. I am 67 pages into this, and my plans for the evening, my boyfriend isn't home, he's took his mum out for dinner, so I'm hoping to get to page 100 of this today. I'm feeling very ambitious this evening. After that, I'm going to try and read 50 pages of Clash of Kings, which is my book for potions for the owls. I have 700 pages of this left and I need to be making progress, so I'm aiming for around 50 pages of this. I'm not sure what time it is because I buried my phone under a stack of books, but it is around 7 p.m, so I'm going to go and try to get to page 100 of A Closed Uncommon Orbit, and then I have a video that I'd like to go up tomorrow. It's a book diary. I need to make the thumbnail, so I'll upload that, put the thumbnail on and things like that. And then I'll move into Clash of Kings and I'll see how much I can get done this evening. Hey guys, so I have some stuff to fill you in on from the last couple of days. So to tell you what happened yesterday, two things happened to me yesterday. The first one is a good thing and the second one is a bad thing. Normally when we do this stuff, like, you kind of lead with the bad thing, but I'm gonna go with the good thing first because that's just like chronological order. So if we go back a couple of weeks, I was watching a vlog from Chelsea Darling Reads, and she was saying that she had been approved for her press pass for Book Expo, and I'd always known in the past that you had to apply to go to Book Expo, or it's like really expensive. The only problem is I wasn't really sure what it was that you applied for. So when I heard Chelsea in her vlog say that it was the press pass, I already knew what that was because I've been looking on the website trying to figure stuff out. So I went and applied for a press pass, and I wasn't going to BookCon at all. Me and Ryan talked about it, but Ryan couldn't quite afford it. So I decided that I wasn't going to go to BookCon, and then I thought, I was having a confident moment and I was like, if I get approved to this press pass, I'm going to go. I'm going to go to Book Expo. Even if I have to go on my own. I'm heading to New York. Obviously, did not think ever that I would be approved because I kind of assumed, because I'd seen on Twitter that so many people had been approved on the same day, I thought that they pretty much approved and declined everybody in March and they would have very few, if any, press passes left. However, yesterday I got an email and I have been approved to go to Book Expo and BookCon. So now I don't have a hotel, I don't have flights, I don't have anybody to go with, but I have a press pass for Book Expo, which is just insane to me. So I've spent the last day bribing, bullying and blackmailing everybody I know to try and get them to go to New York with me. Ryan is a maybe. We may be able to get Ryan there. I don't know whether I can go on my own because I want to. The traveling there is not too much of a problem. I'll be very nervous, but I've been to New York before, so that takes like some of the stress off it. So traveling wouldn't be a problem. The only problem I have is that I'm quite a socially nervous person, so I'm not really one to put myself out there. If people approach me, I will talk to them, but I won't go up to people and interact with them because I'm like nervous and I don't want to bother people. And I'm even worse when I'm on my own. I'm the kind of person when I'm on my own, if I'm in like Starbucks, I will look on my phone and keep looking up as though I'm waiting for a million people to arrive when I'm just there on my own. So the bit that worries me about going to BookCon on my own is that I will go and I will spend all this money for this great experience that is kind of, it's not once in a lifetime, like I could go again, but it may not ever happen again. So I'm worried that I will go and I will be miserable essentially, which is the reason why I'm a little worried about going on my own. So I'll let you know in the coming weeks whether I am going to BookCon or not, but it's a hard maybe right now, and that is very exciting and also terrifying. The second thing that happened is that the universe yesterday decided to restore balance after granting me this marvelous opportunity, and I stabbed myself in the hand. So I was separating two pieces of frozen chicken with a knife and I literally just stabbed right into my hand. I'm not sure how deep it is, still haven't figured that out, but what I can tell you is a day later it's still bleeding slightly. And yeah, the cut isn't actually very big, but it's I'm not sure how deep it is. I can still move my thumb, so I haven't damaged anything. It's just a bit sore and it's in a really inconvenient place because every time I pick something up or flex my hands, I'm pulling the wound open again. So yeah, that's fun, isn't it? And so now that the universe has restored its balance and karma owes me nothing, I'll give you a reading update. So I've actually read quite a bit of Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin over the last few days. I think I left you on Tuesday night where I said I wanted to read so many pages. I did manage to read 100 pages of A Closed and Common Orbit and 50 pages of this. I then read another 40 pages last night and I've read I think about 85 pages today. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to get up to page 400 in this. I'm on page like 382. So I'm going to get to page 400 and then I'm going to swap to my other book which I haven't read today. If you remember from like a couple of minutes ago for you, the other book I've been reading is A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. pretty sure I literally just said that as well. And in this, I am on page 206. So I have about 150 pages left of this. Not sure what I'm doing tonight, but I could potentially finish this tonight. Like I said, I'm going to read up to page 400 of this, and then I'll switch back to this and I'll just read this for the rest of the night and see how far I get, I guess. I have like kind of a 50-page goal, but anything past that is just a bonus. I left this off yesterday at a really big cliffhanger. One of our main characters is in trouble and I don't really see how she's going to get herself out of it, so I'm really excited to find out what happens. Now that I've read a little bit more of this, I can give you kind of a better synopsis. Like I said, I don't want to give spoilers for the first book. So this is a dual perspective, character driven sci-fi. All of the books in this trilogy are very, very character driven, and I really like that about it, like I mentioned on Monday or Tuesday. So the two characters we follow in this are both in the first book as well. I won't really tell you who they are, but one of the characters is a spoiler kind of who it is, so I won't give you too many specifics on her. But the other character is like a minor character. She lives on one of the planets that they briefly visit in the first book. So not only do we follow two perspectives in this, we follow two timelines. One of them, like I said the other day, is following straight on from the first book, and the other one is 20 years in the past. So the present timeline we follow is the character who is a spoiler. Like I said, the best I can tell you about her is that she is in a new home and she is adjusting to that. And the second character, who is the minor character from the first book, we're following her 20 years ago, and it's her backstory of how she became who she is and got to where she is. So the character that's adjusting to her new home, her storyline has a lot to do with identity and not necessarily self-worth, more self-confidence. She's very unfamiliar in the situation that she is in at the minute, and she doesn't really know what to do about it because she did not want this. She was kind of forced into this relocation, and it's very hard for her to come to terms with it. She's in a very different environment than she should be in, and that's really taken its toll. The other character, whose perspective we're following in the past, is also in the present timeline. She is friends with the other character. Her backstory is very interesting. It deals a lot with abuse, and also there is a little bit of the killing of animals for eating in this, which is a little bit disturbing because the animals are wild dogs, and I love dogs. That's a little bit unsettling, so just if you're going into this, it's not like they're pets or anything, so it's not like emotionally like disturbing, but like it does happen, and it gets me a little bit because it's just to do with dogs. So as usual, I'm loving the themes and the discussions in this. I'm not enjoying it as much as the first book. It's very different in the environment. As far as I'm aware, with only a third of this book to go, it is self-contained to the two timelines. You have the present day one and the past one, and while each timeline takes place in a different location, so far none of the characters have moved from those locations, whereas the first book follows a journey and they go to many different planets and experience many different cultures along the way. I can't really put my finger on why I'm not enjoying this so much. Maybe because the world building isn't quite so expansive, because like I said, in the first book you get to travel all around the universe and meet loads of different characters, races, species, and all that sort of stuff. So that was like super interesting, but this is still really good. It melts my heart. I absolutely love it, and I'm anticipating I would probably still give it 5 stars or a 4.5. It's just not as good as the first book, but it's still really good. So I've been talking for long enough now. I'm not really sure what my plan for tonight is, because I was intending to go to a spin class, but there's no space on the spin class, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I really need to upload that book diary. I've already edited it. It's A Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. It's already edited. I just need to upload it and make a thumbnail, and it's just been staying there edited, nothing been done with it since last week. So I'm gonna maybe do something about that, maybe watch some more of You. I'm almost halfway through now, and just read a couple more chapters in this and carry on with this for the rest of the night. I probably won't check in with you tomorrow unless I have something that I desperately need to say or I finish this book, but I imagine I will have definitely finished this by tomorrow night or Saturday, so I'll see you then. Hey guys, so it's Saturday now and I've just filmed 2 videos for the week, which is why I'm still stood here. So today has been quite a fun day. I have been out with my boyfriend. We went to Record Store Day, and if you guys aren't familiar with Record Store Day, essentially the record labels do exclusive Record Store Day versions of albums, or they press like previously unreleased music from certain artists, and it's very exclusive. It's a big thing, like you go and queue at your local record store, and I think it's to get more people into record stores on the high street as opposed to shopping online. So we went and did that. I didn't want anything. We only went for things that my boyfriend wanted, and honestly that was one of the most nerve-wracking experiences I have ever had in my life, because essentially you're queuing at the counter so you can hear what the people in front of you are requesting. There's a guy going through the stacks and passing the records that people are asking for along, and every time he gets to the last one of a certain thing, he says like, this is the last of this. And hearing people in front of you requesting the things that you want and waiting to see if the guy says that it's the last one, it just made me so nervous, even though I didn't even want anything. So we went into Scarborough for that, and while we were there I did check the charity shops. Once again, I didn't get a lot, and Scarborough used to be my favourite place for charity shops, and I'm leaving like big periods of time in between going, so it's not just that I'm reading them too often that there's not a lot there, just nothing is really attracting my interest at the minute. That being said, I did get one book which was just a little bit more expensive than I normally pay at charity shops, but that was Born by Jeff Vandermeer. So I have read the Annihilation series, the Southern Reach trilogy by Jeff Vandermeer, which I absolutely loved. It is one of the weirdest series I have ever read, and what I think that series did really well is that you literally had no clue what was happening in the first book, so you continue through the series trying to find out what's happening, and while it answers some questions, every time you leave with more questions than have been answered, and it is the most frustrating but compelling experience ever. So I have been wanting to read more from Jeff Vandermeer. I know a lot of people don't like him, and I understand, because Annihilation is definitely not for everyone, but I definitely want to read more from him, and I literally have no idea what this is about apart from that it is a sci-fi. This is no longer printed in hardback, I imagine, because this is the UK hardback, and we only print hardbacks for a short amount of time before they go to paperback. And while I was in Waterstones today, I did notice that the paperback of this is out, but it's just a beautiful hardcover book. It says that it's £3 because it was brand new, but like, I hate it when charity shops do stuff like that, and honestly this could have been read. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell if this is new or red. There's nothing about this that signifies that it's brand new, but apparently it is, and that's why it costs more. So I'm excited to get to this at some point. As for my reading update, today I did manage to finish A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. I definitely like The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet a little bit more, but this story was still really heartwarming, and I just love how the books in this series really centre on friendship, and it just gives me the warm fuzzies, and I love the atmosphere and how I feel when I'm reading the books in this series. So I did give it 5 stars, even though it just wasn't quite as good as the first book in the series. It was definitely good, it's just the experience I had reading the first book was just amazing, and I don't think that that's going to be replicated anytime soon. So I've now passed divination, and this was also my Bookopoly book to read a science fiction, I believe. I'm currently on page 500 of Clash of Kings, which is further than I expected to be, so I don't think I'm going to read any more of this at the weekend. I will pick this up again on Monday and give myself the rest of the weekend to pursue a few other books. I'm still really enjoying this. I'm a lot more into the story now. On Thursday and Friday I read 100 pages a day, which is a lot for this, because I've mentioned I can't focus on this for too long because of how much is packed into the story, but I am anticipating that I will finish this at some point next week. I have around 380 pages left, so probably by next weekend this one will be done. And so the next book that I'll be picking up, that I will be reading tonight if I get a chance to start it, because I want to edit a video, and tomorrow, is The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. I'm gonna say that's how you pronounce it. And this is for the Bookopoly challenge to read another booktuber's legacy book. I associate this with Elliot Brooks. And for the Owls, this is for History of Magic, which is to read a book that was published at least 10 years ago. And this was originally published the year I was born, 1993. And it was translated around 2007-2008, so it definitely fits the categories on both fronts. If you guys aren't familiar with the video game The Witcher, or you haven't read these books, this follows Geralt of Rivia, who is a witcher, which is a monster hunter. Now the first two books in this series, I'm not sure if they technically are the first books because they are collections of short stories, but it is definitely recommended that you read these before you pick up any of the core books in the series. Not sure how I'm gonna feel about this. You guys know, don't love short fiction, so short stories are always a little bit challenging for me. Interested to see how it's going to be written with it being 25 years old and translated, but even if I don't enjoy the short story collection, I will definitely persevere until I have read at least the first core book in this series. So that's all I got for you at the minute. I'm gonna go edit that video. I'm trying to be a little bit more organized about my editing going forwards because I have a lot on. Regarding what I'm doing for BookCon, at the moment I think I'm gonna go to Book Expo and BookCon, but I haven't booked anything yet. We're looking to book things early next week. So in next week's vlog, I will let you know for sure if I am going. But at the minute, Book Expo and BookCon is a go. And I am both extremely excited and extremely stressed about it because essentially I need to buy some holiday clothes. I need to buy some new Vans because mine are falling apart. I need to book my holiday. I need to get my insurance and everything sorted. So it's very stressful because normally if I go to the US, I book at least 9 months in advance so I can do all these things in bits. But, you know, BookCon is like 2 months away, so I got a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it in. Hey guys, so it's Sunday evening now and we're going handheld because I cannot for the life of me remember where I put my small tripod after the last time I used it. So we're just gonna go with this for now. So it's nearly midnight. I have played Elder Scrolls Online for most of the evening and I should be in bed now, but I am staying up until 2 AM to watch the first episode of season 8 of Game of Thrones. So it's going to be a long haul. We're going to stream some Fortnite now for a couple of hours before Game of Thrones starts. So I'm going to wrap up the vlog before I get into that. So I've read a couple of books this week. We read Every Heart a Doorway for the Magical Readathon. This completed the prompt for Herbology, which is to read a book with a plant on the cover. And this was my third book of play role to read an adult fantasy. I then read A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. This was for divination, to read a book set in the future. And this was my fourth book of play role to read a science fiction book. As for my second book of play role, which is Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin, I have read about 300 pages of this week. I'm on page 502 and I'm hoping to finish it next week. For the Magical Readathon, this one will be for potions. And the moment you've all been waiting for, the book that I started last night, The Witcher by Andrzej Sapkowski. I am on page 94 of this, so I'm doing alright. But I don't really prioritise reading on the weekends. I prioritise doing other stuff, so I'm not surprised that I haven't read very much. It's a very quick read because normally mass market paperbacks have tiny text, but the spacing in this and the font is alright. So I'm making some progress. I'm not sure how I feel about it at the minute. I don't think I'm going to like it because of the fact that it's short fiction. Aside from that, the writing style is a little bit odd. I find the dialogue to be very strange. It's very repetitive and roundabout. There's kind of reveals as these short stories go along, but it's assumed or implied that you know about certain monsters in this world, and I don't, because it's been a while since I played The Witcher 3, so I could honestly do with having like a bestiary to refer to while I'm reading this. So I'll obviously give you my full thoughts on this next week when I finish it. I imagine I'm only going to be reading this for 2 to 3 more days, and yeah, I'll let you know what I think. Like I said, if I don't like this, I'm still going to persevere until I've at least read a couple of books in the core series, because I know me and how I feel about short fiction, so I can't really hold that against this, knowing that it's short fiction. So that's it for this week. The beginning of next week's vlog is going to start off with the Game of Thrones theme tune, because I'll probably film just a little bit of the intro at 2 AM. Work is going to be hell tomorrow. It's gonna be painful, and then I have to come home and edit this vlog because I was supposed to do it today and I did not. But that's all for this week, guys. Please don't forget to like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you will go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.